Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Creative Mysteries series with Hurricane Titania. Today, I'm going to be talking about something really personal, really intimate that I don't often reveal, simply because a lot of people don't understand it and won't try to understand it. But I feel like this is the perfect platform for me to kind of unveil it in a way and open up more conversation around it. And yeah, this is going to be about my spiritual path. And just a heads up, this is my spiritual path. It's personal to me. It's absolutely not up for debate because I have a personal gnosis developed with this that is very strong and rooted in my entire evolutionary journey as a human. Everything I've become has been in part because of my connection to this spiritual path and what it represents to my soul. So that is just something to keep in mind. I'm not here for any oppositional points, anything like that. This is simply me sharing, and that's that. Otherwise, you don't have to believe this. You don't have to follow this path. This doesn't have to be your spiritual path. That's why I'm saying it's my spiritual path. It's personal. Everyone has a personal, individual journey when it comes to the divine. And it's up to you to find that and cultivate that. And I have plenty of people I know who I'm connected to that have very different beliefs than me. And that's totally okay. I'm not expecting them to follow my path. And in order to be in my space, they have to not expect me to follow their path. That's just a conflict that isn't something I would tolerate. And that's just how relationships should work, honestly. You know, these are personal things that reflect our deeper, higher nature. And that is something to be respected. And with that, I will share that my path is the path of the demonic divine. I work with demonic divinity very closely and in depth in learning of the darkness, learning of the mysteries of life, and empowering myself to see inside the darkness, to transcend my limitations, and to conquer the parts of myself that are held in binds. And this is the beauty of the dark path, and the demonic divine in particular, is they don't deny the reality of darkness. They don't deny the presence of it and the impact of it. They empower themselves in a way to become aware of it and to have the methods and the tools needed in order to not be controlled by it. Because it's the people that deny the darkness or that try to kind of like erase it and pretend like it's not there that are actually the most controlled by their shadows, the most controlled by their lack of awareness, they're most controlled by their ignorance. So the demonic divine is a very rich path, and I started my journey at a young age. I honestly did not really have a spiritual perspective. My grandfather was a very hard-edged biologist, and I had that scientific idea of things, which I still carry with me to this day. And it's part of the way that I see spirituality. But at the time, when I was very young, I didn't really believe in higher powers or spiritual forces in the way that I do now. That was until I had a unprovoked sexual experience with a entity that kind of opened this rabbit hole for me because it was so undeniable. It was so weird. I was so shocked that I was plummeted into this world that I had no idea existed. And that started my journey of research and probing into the other worlds. And I found a spirit work community that I connected to and kind of spent a little bit of time developing my psychic abilities, honing my senses, developing this extrasensory sight and connection to my gifts as a spiritual being. And I spent a while there, but I kept feeling this draw into the left-hand path and this curiosity and connection to those energies. But honestly, I was pretty put off by most people's way of working with the demonic divine. It usually comes from a place of like ego and look at how badass I am, look at how cool it is that I work with these beings. Or on the other hand, it's very controlling and disrespectful, like they're binding these beings and they're not honoring them, they're just using them for money and fortune and all of these things they think they can give them, which I was always put off by. I was very put off by that. And that was until I found the resource of a community called Satan and Sons. And I'm going to link them in my bio and a couple of their resources in my bio. But they have such a balanced and healthy approach to the demonic divine, to working with them, to educating about them. And I honestly felt at home there. There was just such a sense of connection to the knowledge they were presenting and the perspectives they were changing and shifting and all of those things. I really flourished and found a lot of power in that community, and I owe a lot to them as influencing my path and my development on this journey as a human and as a spiritual being. But it really informed so much, and the way that I approach things and my comfort in that space, it allowed me to really grow and evolve with the demonic divine. So I work closely with many of the demonic immortals, but I'm primarily devoted to Lucifuge, Rafakal, and Rashun. And they both play very different roles in my path, but they bring so much empowerment, knowledge, and awareness, and just deep connection to my soul. And I'm very grateful for their presence and for the knowledge and wisdom they bestow upon me. And I really feel in a lot of ways indebted to how they've shaped and molded me as a person. So with Lucifuge Rafakal, he is an underworld deity and being, and he has really informed my relationship to transformation, to being comfortable with death and rebirth, to understanding the true darkness in humanity and how much is hidden underground, how much is hiding in the shadows, and how to protect yourself against those things. He is a stern teacher, but he has so much awareness and care in everything he reveals, and he brings a lot of depth to my artistic comprehension as well, because the thing about creation is, interestingly, like, it's this life force, but life force is always entwined with death. So understanding the two polarities and how they work together has been very liberating for me as an artist. And a lot of the perspectives he brings just kind of give me this wonder at the true reality of life and its mysteries and its sort of hidden worlds and often really scary and frightening elements that we just choose not to perceive. But once you see them, it's kind of like you pulled this blinder off, and it just adds so much, so many sensations, so many emotions, so many feelings. With Rashun, she has really influenced my feminine path and the woman that I've been able to become and will continue to become and curate. She has empowered me through the darkness of my work with beauty and my sense of self-confidence as a woman, and my sense of seduction, and all of those layers and elements have been transformed through her, and her way of guiding me has always been quite caring and tender, and showing me that I can claim more from my feminine, I can claim more from my self-concept, I can be more than what this world has chosen to allow, and I can access more of my soul in my beauty, I can lead with my soul in my beauty. So she has been hugely foundational in everything that I've approached in this life and my journey in this life with beauty consciousness. So again, this is my spiritual path, and it's very personal, very intimate. It's not something I usually share, but I honestly get kind of tired of the constant rhetoric in the spiritual community about demons. This like blanket term that everything is demonic or satanic that's not good, and this like cabal and order that's threatening life. And honestly, when you're spewing those things, you're really influenced by the Christian paradigm, and which I think is kind of funny because so many like spiritual paths want to separate themselves from that, and yet they're directly tied to it by spewing this nonsense and this like idea of things as really uneducated. Because yes, there are harmful spiritual beings out there. There is a harmful darkness, but I don't at all consider that associated with the demonic divine, because the demonic divine has taught me that you have to kind of learn to protect yourself against those things and learn to handle them, learn to face them. It's going to teach you how, and it's going to show you how to see them, but it's not them. And it's just really annoying, the rhetoric. I get so frustrated. These very Christian indoctrination that has occurred. And if you look at the influence of Christianity, it really did destroy any and all pagan altars, pagan worship, pagan ideologies. It wanted nothing to do with them. So naturally, it's going to demonize them. Naturally, it's going to make everything bad seem demonic, everything bad seem satanic, all of those things. When, again, the demonic divine is the protector. It is this space of purity that allows you to empower yourself through the darkness and transform the darkness and provide lessons and awareness of darkness that many people are not honest with themselves enough to face, which is why it's very easy to interpret it as malevolent, when in reality the only malevolence that lives is your own ignorance in relationship to that. So yeah, this is my path. Like I said, it's not up for debate, and it's just a sharing that I wanted to kind of explore. I'm going to eventually have the priestesses of Satan and Sons on my channel to talk a little bit more on this podcast. So we're going to get more in depth, and it's going to be really exciting because, yeah, this path is very beautiful. It's also very misunderstood so many ways. And I think it's time that we, grow up a little and stop labeling everything that we don't understand as evil, and learn to see with truth and respect what actually is out there. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned, subscribe, and follow my channel. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.